Wow, this is truly incredible. It's absolutely crazy, in fact. An exchange is being sued for just under $500 million. That's billion with a B, for basically stopping a short squeeze. This story is wild. Now, in the clip you're about to watch, I get into all the dirty details so you can fully understand what is happening, what isn't happening. But on a surface level, I want you to know that there's a good chance you don't have what they're talking about in your portfolio, but understand this story involving bankers and brokers and exchanges. Well, that's the key thing, because if they did this once, if they were able to stop a short squeeze once, well, there's no reason why they couldn't do it again, which is why this story in particular is so important for all of us to pay attention to so we can call them out on the future if they try to pull this off. So that's why I think this is something that really we should all be paying attention to say the least. But before we get into all that, a shout out to today's video sponsor, which is Tendies. If you want to see what's going on in the world of Wall Street bets and also get free options flow, it is pinned to the comment below. It's absolutely free and you can get it quickly on a download for your iPhone right now. With all that being said, let's get to it. Man, oh man, this is a crazy story. Officially, an exchange, you heard that right, an actual exchange is being sued for just under $500 million, and this is all related to a short squeeze. This is what you need to know. Hedge fund Elliott Management sues the LME, the London Metal Exchange, for $456 million over nickel trading fiasco. And what they mean by fiasco is a short squeeze that was manipulated out of existence. This story is absolutely insane. Elliott Management is suing the LME for $456 million over the commodities hub suspension of nickel trading in March. And what they mean is they basically just stopped a short squeeze, and everyone's involved in this one. You have the Hong Kong exchange, obviously you have the LME, you have big billionaires over in Asia, you have JP Morgan. This is the story with so many different facets, and I don't think it got that much traction because the exchange itself is in Europe and it related to the commodities market. So it doesn't have quite enough symbolism to really get the traction to blow up. But the story itself, it deserves to, because it is insane. And this kind of shows you the dark side of exchanges and brokerages and backdoor deals. It's crazy. It's crazy. The activist hedge fund, which was founded by billionaire investor Paul Singer, has filed a lawsuit stating that the LME unlawfully canceled nickel trades it had made on March 8th after the nickel price surged 250% over 100,000 a ton. So basically, there was a full-on squeeze, and then the exchange just said, no, we're going to bust all your trade. And a busting a trade is all the trades that happen, they're like, nope, those don't count. And this was after they just straight up stopped the trading of it. So they halted the entire market. No one was trading. And then they restarted the trading. And then people were actively trading. And at the end of the day, they're like, nope, those don't count anyway, which is insane. I bet a lot of you watching this right now are like, I didn't even know you could do it. And that's basically what they're saying. And then the LME is like saying, well, it is in our terms of service and you agreed to trade with us. So it's becoming now a legal battle. And obviously, I hope the LME gets its teeth kicked in. When the LME canceled nickel trades on the 8th of March, 2022, it acted unlawfully. It exercised the powers that it did have unreasonably and irrationally, in particular by taking into account irrelevant factors, including its own financial position. Stop me if you've heard this before, but basically they had poor structure, and instead of doing what was like morally, and I don't know if I could say legally because I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know. In that same vein of thought though, but once again, I'm not a lawyer. They cared about themselves, even though they're the ones who kind of fumbled the entire situation. Hong Kong Exchanges and Clearing, which owns the exchange. So once again, Hong Kong Exchanges and Clearing owns the LME, and that's interesting. So this nickel trading occurs on the London Metal Exchange. That's the main exchange that really facilitates nickel trading. That's owned by the Hong Kong Exchanges and Clearing. Why is this interesting? Well, the player who was short nickel is a big player in China. And if you're familiar at all with how businesses run in China, a lot of this is extremely linked to government. Business and government are very highly correlated and integrated entities. Anyway, they dispute the idea that the LME management acted unlawfully. Well, of course they would. It should be stressed that the LME always acted in the interest of the market as a whole. Management is of the view that the claim is without merit and the LME will contest it vigorously. So they're saying, hey, we know we manipulated it, like we full on did it, but hey, it was in the best interest of the market. So even though we manipulated it and many people got screwed over, that sucks to be you, because they're saying it's for the best interest of the market. I don't agree. It doesn't just end there, though. AQR Capital Management, which is a well-known quantitative firm, said stealing money from the market participants, trading in good faith and giving it to the Chinese nickel producers and their banks. So they were calling it out too, not happy, and a lot of people aren't. So just to give you a bit more details of like how this all went down and kind of the connection I'm seeing in the back end. So the short squeeze in nickel, the spike was driven in large part by a short squeeze centered on the Chinese tycoon, I'm going to butcher this name, so I'm not even going to give it an attempt, who had amassed a big wager, I believe to the tune of 8 billion. That's billion with a B. That nickel prices would fall through his company, Tsingshan Holdings Group, on Monday of the week after trading had been suspended. The company announced a standstill agreement with JP Morgan Chase. You know, those same people with the mortgage-backed securities back in 2008 who took on a multi-billion-dollar loss because they were over-leveraged and their risk models got blown out of the water. Well, they kind of got involved in this again, and other banks would allow it to maintain its short position. So you have this insane situation where a company and a well-known, most likely business guy who's in one way or another integrated with politicians in China, massive short position. He got squeezed, and it looks like some favors were pulled off because the Hong Kong exchange, who owns the London Metal Exchange, they stopped the trading, and then when it reopened, they were busting all of the trades saying it didn't happen, and then all of the collateral was put up by mainly JP and then other banks. There's no way it's moral. It might be legal, and obviously the courts are going to find that out, but this is something that should not be happening, and most likely, I think the way this plays out is now faith does not exist when it comes to the London Metal Exchange. Given enough time, my personal opinion is that this will be the downfall of the London Metal Exchange, because people are going to say this is bullshit and I'm not going to deal with it. And now, especially that you see some heavy hitters coming out against the LME, I think they're going to be done for. I don't know how a judge won't be like, dude, you can't do that bullshit. It's, to me, in my own opinion, non-financial advice, non-legal advice, this seems like pure manipulation. I wouldn't be surprised if the exchange ends up losing $500 million. And all of a sudden, if this one hedge fund is successful, imagine who else might come out of the woodwork to end up suing the LME. But obviously, I need to know your thoughts on this. Let me know in a comment, because it's just absolutely insane.